Here we go, the start of day one of the southern tier. This will be a short ride up to Alpine, California, with an elevation gain of about 2,995 feet. Right now we're going along the bike trail. And I admit that I wasn't overly impressed with the bike trail and in riding through San Diego. I'm kind of wondering why my video is going faster than my map, but it looks like I'm just in the wrong location. So the map probably started sooner. And so now I'm back on city streets and about to get lost a number of times. I will give this to San Diego. Most of the streets had a nice wide shoulder for the bike. And so for the most part, riding a bike was safe. But there's my first spot where I wasn't following the map correctly because it wasn't giving me audible directions and I couldn't tell exactly. And to make matters worse, I was having trouble with my seat. But hopefully here we go again. This was a terrible bike path, really bumpy and not enjoyable, even though it looks really nice. Fortunately, it didn't last too long. It lasted longer than I wanted. So we're making a right turn here. And just coming up in more spots where I misread the map. And this is one of them. I was supposed to go straight. I misread the turn, which was right there. The one nice thing is it did allow me to get around without going down too many bad streets to get through San Diego. However, the first half of the trip, I didn't really gain any elevation. It was slight uphill and downhill the entire time. And to that offense, I guess you can see the map we're going through a business district, and it's getting me to the road that I enjoyed riding on, even if it did have a lot of lights. You can see this is a huge residential area now. And these were brief stops talking with my wife. So she's trying to figure out where I am. And I meet up with her once here shortly. Okay, so I'm coming up on another wrong turn and you'll see me make it. And what they're really doing is taking me through this area over here, and I really dislike this. And if you look at the overview, all it's doing is taking me on a road that's bumpy because there's speed bumps every short distance. You don't see the speed bumps riding this way. But it was just a pain in the neck, literally. And I could have stayed on the surface road and got to the exact same spot and probably faster. So here we are coming back to the street that I left to get on that trail. And shortly I'll be turning left. Well, okay, my wife tells me I turned right, not left, but I was speaking of her left. Probably in advance when I shouldn't have. Maybe I already made it. So, and this was, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm trying to figure out where my wife is. But you can see it's a very nice bike lane, and the road's in good condition right here. And as long as I'm not having to turn, it's easy. So here's my wife. We're on the stop. Now the one map is showing me still going, so apparently it was a little behind. So I still don't have these other things in sequence perfectly, but it's close enough. You can get an idea what the neighborhood's like. and one more time for me to get lost. And go down the right street. So I was really irritated at why the maps wouldn't tell me the street to turn on when I was coming up on it. There's no audio directions on the map that I can put out for the southern tier, and it's probably the same for everything. And so I have to keep looking on the map to make sure where I'm actually going. So I don't miss my turns by too much. And thus far, here's the trip I've done so far. And again, the roads are good. I was probably more frustrated with the maps and the fact that I really wasn't going uphill much yet, because I knew I was going to be climbing hills a whole lot. And then I think I'm turning left here, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So this should be Old State Route 80. Was it? Yes, 80. That takes you all the way up into Alpine eventually, kind of go off and on it. So again, it's nice neighborhoods. You can see. And I think I'm coming up on another break shortly where I met with Vicky. And that's where I'm at. And this is really where the climbing starts shortly after this. And we'll be going uphill there. So this is the last time I saw Vicky until I got to the end of the day. We actually made a shorter day of this. And I excuse the video, but apparently the overlays, because it's not as populated, aren't as good here, or they're not loading as fast, one of the two. But you can see I'm paralleling Interstate 8 on the old freeway. Well, I'm sorry, I called it a freeway on the old road. And again, the road here is actually, I wasn't bothered by the road condition. It's just knowing which way I'm going. When I finally got to here, I was a little more confident that it would get me to where I wanted to go without getting lost. And so that part of the ride was good. Now this temperature was on about a 90-degree day. We didn't start until about 11 o'clock. So I rode during the hottest part of the day, but it could have been a whole lot worse. And hopefully the video shows the uphill that I'm going through. This was a fairly good uphill climb. And I guess that's why the city was named Alpine. But it bothered me. They called it Alpine, and it's not the peak. And disregard the telephone. Hey, Vicky! Oh, she got it. So we're actually now coming up on Alpine soon, and so there's not much left of the ride. And I think Vicky just passed me in the motorhome, and we're going to the end of the day. I could have kept going, but I was unsure what's going to happen the next day. I'd only gotten like 2 hours sleep. We arrived in Alpine at 4 o'clock in the morning, got up at 7 and left, so actually it was less than that. And so I didn't want to get any more tired than I already was, knowing that the next day was going to be the hardest day of the ride, and it was uh, a whole lot more climbing, more than basically double the amount of climbing that I did today. And here I am turning into the store parking lot, and that is the end of the ride. And there's Vicky and my place to sleep for the night. And hopefully you enjoyed the video. Sorry if I rambled on.